When you read a story, do you notice the room, the weather? Most of us see it as a backdrop, a stage for the real action. But in great writing, it's never just a stage. A well-crafted setting is a living, breathing force. It has a job to do. First, setting has layers. There's the physical wear, a sterile office or a chaotic forest. There's the temporal one, a ticking clock in a thriller, or the nostalgic haze of a summer in the past. And crucially, there's the social fabric, the unspoken rules of that world. A character in Victorian London is trapped by different invisible walls than one in a modern suburb. Authors use these layers to create atmosphere, the emotional weather of the story. Think of a school cafeteria. It can be a safe haven, smelling of warm bread amidst soft chatter, or it can be a battlefield with the metallic clatter of trays, sharp smells, and aggressive movement. The place is the same. The feeling, manipulated by sensory detail, is completely different. This is where powerful techniques come in. You've probably seen Pathetic Fallacy, where the environment mirrors emotion. A storm rages as a character has a violent internal conflict. The sky weeps with the mourners. But even more powerful is the reverse. Imagine a character's life falling apart on a beautiful sunny day with birds singing. That contrast makes their isolation feel absolute, because the world simply doesn't care. Sometimes the setting itself becomes the villain. In stories set in the Australian outback, the heat and isolation aren't just conditions, they are active, antagonistic forces that can drive characters to madness. The landscape becomes a character with a sinister agenda. So next time you read, pay attention to the texture of the world. Every flickering light, every mountain, every rainy street is a deliberate choice. It's an argument, a mirror, and an invitation to feel. In the architecture of the setting, the truest meaning of the story is found.